How's it going, everybody? This is Siri here, and we have the infographics of everything you need to know about the Fantastic Four team. Now, this is the newest premier arena team that's also going to be good in multiple game modes such as War, Cosmic Crucible. Anytime there's a tower, any event, this team is going to be the top meta team, and I want to make sure that you guys have all the information that you need to know for this team. So with this team, there's going to be the two reworks of Human Torch and Thing, which are currently live in game. There's the new characters of Invisible Woman, MCU, Mr. Fantastic, and we got Franklin Richards on this team, who is a powerhouse of a character. So let's go ahead and start talking about the Human Torch first, who got one of the reworks. Now, the Human Torch, I think he's going to be one of those deceptively good characters that's going to be in this game. He has a very high damage stat of about 17th in the game at this time. He's got a decent health stat of 37, so he is somewhat of that glass cannon type of character, but he does end up giving a lot of support to this team by giving that assist now to any time a Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four MCU character takes their turn, he'll be assisting on that. So as far as the ISO selection goes for him, I really like that skirmisher if you're trying to lean into that triple tap of having lots of strikers and him as a skirmisher. If you want to go the other route and lean more into the bleed aspect of it, you can definitely go with a striker character for him. The reason for that is the bleeds also scale off of the T4s and the damage stat that the striker actually gives for him. So that is something that you definitely want to try to lean into for this character. Now, as far as the T4 selections goes, if you're going to end up using this character with this team in multiple game modes, I do think that you want to get the T4 added onto his passive. The passive is going to make it to where he's going to be extending all those negative effects except for the trauma, silence, ability block, and stun. That's going to be like offense down, defense down, bleeds. So anytime he ends up attacking on that character, that's going to prolong those negative effects. And with the assist kind of happening on all of those, that's going to be very important for you. If you end up not using him as much, because in War, he is going to be that first character that you really want to substitute out if you try and go with that theory crafting route of adding in, say, like a Quasar or some powerhouse of a character, then he's going to be the first one you're going to take out, which we're going to talk about that when we get over to Thing. I think in Crucible, though, Human Torch is going to be like that fourth member and not the first one you're going to end up taking out. So that is something you definitely want to look into for this. Now, with the next character on the list, we have the Thing. Now, the Thing, he is a monster. This guy, this is the second or third rework he actually received, and he really needed that extra facelift. Basically, his damage that he ends up pumping out is insane. Now, the interesting thing about the Thing is in War, he is a beast. Basically, he gets that turn meter, fill speed bar on spawn based on new Avenger or Fantastic Four ally. So he's going to be going first in War. Because of that, I do like him as a raider. But again, if you start leaning into the striker skirmisher combo that Human Torch ends up giving you, then the Thing you kind of want as that striker. So it really depends on which route you want to really lean into this Fantastic Four team. Now, as far as the damage that he does, so he basically gets those retaliates. So anytime a Fantastic Four MCU member is attacked, he's going to be punching them back for a pretty good amount of damage of 275%. Now, I do have that passive set as a 3-star out of 5-star. The reason for that is if you get the T4 in the passive, it's going to be an extra 50% damage. So it goes from 225% piercing to 275% piercing. So that is something I do want to kind of let you guys know about. I do think his ultimate's going to be the more important T4 if you really want to build all of the members of this team. The ultimate's going to make it to where if the primary target has that safeguard, or if it's a minion, it's 100% crit chance. So it's always going to crit with that ultimate move. And on kill, it's going to get that immunity speed up to those Fantastic Four allies, which I do feel is very important. The special T4 is just going to get you a little bit more damage. Same with the basics. So you can kind of lean a little bit lighter on all of those T4s. I'd say the ultimate and passive are the more important ones if you wanted to kind of minimize the T4s that you want to end up putting in for the Thing. Now, as far as what the thing ends up kind of bringing you, I already mentioned the retaliates that he brings to the team, which is a very, very nice thing. In war, he gets an extra turn meter, so he's going to be going before, say, a Franklin and an Invisible Woman, because that turn meter fill. So because of that, that would allow you to lean more into the strikers for those two characters, and just kind of make thing that the Raider, so that we can try to get those crits, get the kill out there early, set the tone of the matchup, and then you can start getting that triple taps kind of going for you. Now, as far as where I think the Thing's place is going to be, he's definitely going to be a mainstay in war, whether that's going to stay with the Fantastic Four MCU team, or if you keep him with that new Avengers team to try to keep that as somewhat of a sneaky defense or offense type of thing, because the new stats, just like it was with the Underworld team. In Crucible, I do think the speed of 100 on him is going to be more of a hindrance than anything. So I think in Crucible, he's going to be the first one substituted out, which is why I said Human Torch is more Crucible. Thing is going to be more for war. So you kind of want to pick your poison as far as which one you really want to lean into for this. Let's go ahead and move over to the Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman is already making waves in multiple game modes. She's kind of already making herself that mainstay in Arena. I'm using her a lot in Cosmic Crucible and in War. That speed stat of 129 and the all-around control with the high burst damage that she gives, it's remarkable for what she can do. She's that third highest damage in the game right now, which is insane when she also has the 6th highest health stat in the game. So kind of that combination, it's really starting to show the post-Quasar kind of power creep that they're kind of doing on here. So the control that she gives, let's go ahead and talk about that first. The ultimate and the special. It gives you two different ways on how you want to open the matchup. Do you want to try to clear those positive effects, or do you want to try to get the control out there by using the ability block? So with the special, that's going to end up getting the defense down, the ability block, and trauma. And if you have Xavier with her, because they have defense down, that means they can get trauma on Xavier, which is a very big thing that she can allow you to do. If you want to go with the ultimate route, brings them together like that Magneto and Polaris Void Knight effect, clears positive effects, and gets defense down for them. And it's a very high focus boost that it does as well. So that is huge right off the bat. Then we end up jumping into the passive. The on-spawn passive makes it to where she goes stealth, and anytime she's stealth, she gets extra crit chance and crit damage, which is just insane because she has many different ways to kind of pop into that stealth and get that huge damage burst for your team. So she is a incredible plug-and-play character already, and when the team comes out, that's going to give you more plug-and-play use to where you have your 3-person Fantastic Four MCU team, and you kind of theory craft how you want to end up doing that, which we're going to be talking about later on in this video. Now, as far as where I think she stands, Franklin is definitely going to be the #1 character, arguably top 3 or 5 in the game. She is not far behind. So if you have a chance to really build up your Invisible Woman, MCU, and Franklin, definitely do it, because you're really not going to regret what they kind of bring for you. Now, as far as ISO selections goes, it really, really depends, because if you don't have Franklin, then you're going to want to lean more into the Raider aspect of her, because she's going to be going first with that 129 speed. Once Franklin comes out, I do think Striker, because her ISO attack on here is going to be applying bleeds. She has a lot of ways to get bleeds out there on that basic attack, so that's going to end up pumping up the bleed damage even more. With the Raider aspect, it kind of sets the tone, gets the vulnerables out there that we can really lean into the Striker. And then, like we mentioned with Human Torch, how he gets those assists now, making it to where you can have Invisible Woman do a basic Human Torch goes, and then back to Invisible Woman MCU. That's going to be 4 bleeds that she basically puts out on her turn with very high damage. So I do like her as a Striker. For now, I'm using her as a Raider, and then I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth depending on what the matchup is going to be for her. Now, a very cool aspect that she has with her kit I want to touch on real quick is when a Fantastic Four ally does a special or ultimate, she's going to be doing that out of turn damage of 150% piercing damage and she's going to be gaining stealth off that, +1 up to 5. That's why I said she has a lot of ways to gain stealth, which when she gets stealth, she gets the extra crit damage, crit chance. So she's a very, very cool character. I'm really happy with what they've done with her. Next up, we're going to be talking about Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic is a very interesting character on how they designed this character as a protector. He is more than just that pre-taunt, because on spawn he gets the taunt, he gets safeguard, and a lot of death proofs. That's a very nasty combination on top of the high block chance and block amount that he has on his passive. So he's going to scale incredibly well, and I'm going to call it now, he's going to be one of the more long-lasting members of the Fantastic Four MCU team, because if you kind of look at these pre-taunts, Absorbian end up kind of outliving the rest of the Masters of Evil team outside of Kang because of that pre-taunt he has. If we end up looking at Zombie Juggernaut, we still use him as that pre-taunt. Gladiator, we use him as that pre-taunt. This character as a pre-taunt has Safeguard and Death Proof. That's a very nasty combination when you can plug characters like, say, Quasar with him. That's also going to get him the immunity, so that would be Safeguard, Taunt, Death Proof, and immunity. It's a nasty combination of what we can end up doing with him once the team has kind of run its course in about a year or so. So I do want to throw that out there as well. Then we look at his damage and health stat. He's the 3rd highest health in the game and 5th highest damage on a protector. That is insane, these stats that they kind of gave this character. And he also has some pretty good modifiers on top of his damage. So let's go ahead and talk about his damage. So if we end up going over to the special, that's going to get him a stun, so he does have some crowd control. And his special and ultimate do max health damage as well. So basically, it's going to factor in the target's max health on the special, where it does 300% damage plus 10% of each target's max health. And the ultimate does the max health damage as well. So those high health characters that we kind of go against is going to be a very nasty hit that he ends up doing to each of these characters. Then we end up taking a look at his passive. His passive is going to make it with the T4. It's going to basically, when a character uses their special or ultimate, they get barrier from 5% to 10%. So that does have very high value. I put that as a 4-star out of 5 stars. I could see a world where it would be 5 stars because of his high health, really cranking up the barrier that he can kind of give out to the team. Now, something I do want to mention as well is his basic. I put that as a 3-star. His basic does nothing fancy. However, the T4 on it adds 90% extra damage. So that takes the damage from 230% to the 320% damage. So that's why I put that as a 3-star. If you end up going with that striker skirmisher route, definitely do the T4 on that, because that extra 90% damage is going to be massive for what you can kind of do for the team. Now, as far as the other ISO, I can see a world where Fortifier would be the main thing, especially at lower stars, kind of get the extra barrier on spawn, crank up the max barrier that you can end up getting on him as well. However, with that high damage stat, I can also see Raider being a thing, because he does have that 5th highest damage stat. And when he ends up doing the ultimate move, just flooding the enemy team with those vulnerables is going to be kind of key as well. So he has a lot of different versatility in his ISOs and how he protects the team. It's a really interesting way that they designed this Mr. Fantastic, and I really like it. Like I said, he's going to end up being a long-lasting member of the Fantastic Four MCU team. And now we have the new character that's come into the game, which is Franklin Richards. Franklin is a powerhouse, and that is a intended pun for you comic book nerds out there. Now, he does require a lot of T4s, because none of his T4s are really bad, right? So the big thing's going to be on his passive. His passive is going to end up getting him the extra speed for those Fantastic Four allies, and also the extra speed in arena and outside of arena. So he really ramps up this Fantastic Four MCU team. Now, as far as its ultimate move, this is going to get that extra 50% damage and clear all charge. If the clear all charge wasn't there, the T4 wouldn't be as important. However, the special, I think, is going to be one of the more important ones. This gives that extra 80% damage to primary and secondary, and also it's going to be reducing the duration of safeguard, which is very, very important for how that special ends up going. Basically, it reduces the safeguard, and then it copies the positive effects, puts it onto himself, and then spreads all those positive effects to the allies. Now, that is, like I said, very, very important. If we end up looking at the basic, I gave this one a 3-star. I think this could be a 4-star, because what the basic's going to do is go from flipping 2 negative effects to flipping 3. So I think it really depends on the matchup. If the team starts kind of slowing down and they start getting more peppered with those negative effects, then I could definitely see you wanted to do the T4 on it. But I honestly don't think it's going to be kind of mandatory. Now, as far as his damage stat goes, you can see that he is the 4th highest damage in the game. He's the 5th highest health stat as well. He has a very good focus stat of the 2nd in the game, which he definitely needs because of the way his kit works with reducing those positive effects, doing the copy, doing the clears. So he definitely needs that focus. I do like him as that raider because he's 131 speed, and unless Thing is with him in war, he's basically taking that first turn. He does the ultimate, gets all the vulnerables out there, and then you can start leaning into those like striker hits from Invisible Woman and the other members of the team. Now, in war, if you keep Thing with him, I think you want him as a striker because Thing's going to be going first, and then Franklin can take his turn, get the double tap with the high damage with the basic for the ISO, and really lean into it that way. Now, my plan with this team is I'm going to end up trying to get Invisible Woman and Franklin to 7-star as quickly as possible. In the intel store, I'm already buying the Invisible Woman. I'm trying to get her up there. When Franklin comes out, I'll be using my intel on him as well because of how remarkable this team performs in every single game mode. So I do want to end up talking about the infographic here. So this is going to be the team infographic, and it's the selection as far as like the positioning of how you want this team to kind of go. Franklin's going to be on the one bookend. You want Mr. Fantastic on the other bookend. And then from there, try to protect your Invisible Woman. So at lower stars, I am putting her basically on the other bookend as well. I want her from far away as possible from Mr. Fantastic. The Thing is going to be adjacent to Mr. Fantastic because I like the assist that Human Torch gives. But again, when we start talking about War and Cosmic Crucible, Thing's going to be first out for Crucible, Torch is out first for War, and then if you need to plug somebody else out, those are the two that's going to be gone because the 3 new characters are just that good at what they do. And this team does have a lot of strengths as well. If we end up taking a look at the strengths of this team, what we have here is this is the arena team, but they are meta everywhere. That means that this team is like the Black Order team, Infinity Watch team, the Annihilators. The Annihilators are still good today, and that's going to end up being the same with this Fantastic Four team. The Human Torch is going to have a lot of support mechanics that he gives to the team. He provides offense up to all allies, not just Fantastic Four. So when you start plugging in those other members, say Xavier, Odin, Mephisto, Quasar, they'll be getting offense up on his special as well. He will also be gaining assist now on any Fantastic Four MCU ally turn, basically making those single attacks into 2 hits or 3 hits, depending if that primary hitter is going to be that striker or not. The Thing is going to have a lot of control mechanics, so he's going to have that crowd control to where you can apply stun, disrupt, trauma, and we don't want to end up sleeping on that ultimate where if he gets that kill, he gives immunity and speed up as well. So the Thing is actually a really cool member of this team when we start talking about Alliance War and everything. It's just that speed is definitely going to be a hindrance to him in other game modes, like I mentioned. Invisible Woman MCU, she has a lot of crowd control mechanics. Basically, she has the ability to block trauma. She brings all enemies together. She clears those positive effects. She throws a lot of defense down and bleeds out there. And she also provides out-of-turn damage when a Fantastic Four MCU ally uses their special or ultimate abilities. When we start talking about Mr. Fantastic, he has that on-spawn taunt with Safeguard and Death Proof. He's capable of providing Safeguard and Death Proof to all allies as well, which is very key in keeping the team alive, because if you kind of noticed, they don't have any form of healing, which we'll be talking about here shortly. The Mr. Fantastic MCU is also able to reduce the duration of all negative effects on self and all allies, not just Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four MCU allies. It's all allies, which is very, very good. He also provides barrier when a Fantastic Four MCU ally uses their special or ultimate. Now we have Franklin Richards. So Franklin, he will be able to copy all positive effects excluding taunt, stealth, regeneration, and spread that to all allies. Again, not just Fantastic Four MCU, which is huge. He also is able to reduce the duration of safeguard and flip positive effects into negative effects. He's also able to increase the speed stats on top of the filling the turn meter, and the speed stat is until Franklin Richards takes that turn. So that is very important. Basically, turn 1, everybody has that higher speed stat. Once he takes his turn, they kind of default down to their regular speed. That's how that works. Now, as far as filling the speed bar, anytime a Fantastic Four MCU ally uses this special or ultimate, that's going to be filling speed bar as well. So that is a lot of different control aspects that we need to look at with this Fantastic Four MCU team. Now, as far as the weaknesses goes on here, so I already mentioned the big thing, no healing. So we really have to lean into the barrier aspect of it, the defense ups, the death proofs that Mr. Fantastic kind of gives to the team. But they have more weaknesses than that. This team is a high burst damage team. You have to try just to survive that opening barrage of what the Fantastic Four MCU does. They have that 131 speed stat in Franklin, 129 speed stats in Invisible Woman, in War, a very, very high speed stat in Thing, and Human Torch at 127 really isn't that slow. So that is something you need to try to keep in mind if you see this team on defense. Franklin Richards, both of his moves have a very, very long cooldown, and they don't have a way of doing that energy battery to this team, meaning once that turn 1 and turn 2 happens, if your opponent is not killed off, then you kind of run into kind of the marathon battles, which I don't think this team can really survive on those type of battles. They basically want to go in, give you that 1-2 punch, knock you out, and they got the victory. If you can survive that and try to control that, if you're punching into this team, that's going to be a key to victory with us. Now, the Fantastic Four MCU relies on the barrier, like I said, so that does leave them vulnerable to characters that can clear that barrier. So characters that want to look at on the offensive side, if you see this on defense, high speed and control characters like Quasar with that 129 speed, Black Cat, Songbird, they both have very good control. Songbird doing that flip, or Black Cat getting that stun out there. Havoc is a very good character as well, to where you can try to get the stun out there early. Same with Storm. And Gina is a fast character that could try to extend those negative effects, because this team does not have the immunity on spawn unless they end up bringing Quasar with them. Now, there are going to be some anti-safeguard mechanics that you want to bring into this team to try to get around that Mr. Fantastic. That's going to be characters like Apocalypse, or bring Ares in for that overkill if you really need it. And then there's going to be the precaution character, which I think Odin is a fantastic one on here. During the testing portion of this, I was able to beat this team with Xavier and Sasquatch on defense, which you probably have the footage being played right now for you. And I didn't use Odin, but it was a very risky matchup. Dorky Dad ended up doing a matchup as well, where he did bring Odin, and the assist now that Odin provides to really try to kill that Franklin early definitely made the matchup a whole lot easier. You just kind of have to take the opening barrage, which the team is going to scale incredibly well with these stats when we get to that 7 stars and diamonds on them in the future. So I do want to try to be careful of that. Now, my overall thoughts with this team is it's an insane team. This is the premier team we've kind of been waiting for in this game, where they're going to be good in multiple game modes. Right now, without Franklin being in the game, and Franklin's going to be coming out later this week, I'm already using Invisible Woman. Human Torch, I'm already using in War. The Thing I'm using in War as well. Like, you kind of use that 3-piece or plug to them with the new Avengers team, and I'm really getting a lot of use out of this team. I still am testing out Mr. Fantastic. At lower stars, he's not going to perform as well, but he scales so well with that high health and high damage and what he provides to the team when you start plugging three of them together. The Franklin, when he comes into the game, is going to change the whole landscape. So do want to kind of be aware of that. If you have any power cores, I would definitely recommend power coring for Franklin and using your intel to at least get the unlock for Invisible Woman and Franklin when they go to that intel store. And then maybe, depending on how close you are to the next star and where you are with your Xavier, maybe try to get them up an extra star level after their events kind of run their course. So when their events come out, you should already have them unlocked from the power cores, intel store, and everything. The events happen, that should get you to the next star. See if you can actually push a little bit if it doesn't hinder your Professor Xavier saga. That's my main advice for you, because this team is going to be lasting for over a year, just like it was with the Annihilators, just like it was with Black Order, Infinity Watch, and everything. I really am happy about this team. I'm excited to see how this team is going to perform in Crucible. When Franklin comes out, I think they're going to be able to take out a lot of the meta teams, not only in War, but in Cosmic Crucible. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, the footage I kind of played on here for you as well. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have one for the rest of the day.